Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. Hey, before we get started with today's episode, I wanted to let you know that there's a really cool thing that's been added to the Married to Addiction website. So as you probably have seen, if you have been here for any length of time, sometimes the things that I offer will change. Sometimes the freebies will change. Sometimes the program offerings will change. Just like with anything, over time, things evolve, right? Well, it's kind of been a little bit challenging to keep up with that up until now as, a listener and or a website visitor, because you would just go there looking for something and it would just be gone and you were wondering, okay, what the heck? Well, what else is there? There is now on the Married to Addiction website an everything page. Basically, what the everything page is going to be is it will list in real time everything that I'm currently offering. The free offerings, the paid offerings, all of it. So you can always head to that page, and I want you to bookmark it so that you have it ready at any given time to see what's currently available. Be sure that you do check in regularly because, like I said, things shift, things change. There might be things on there right now that you don't even know that I offer. So please go check that out. You just go to marriedtoaddiction.com, and at the top of the website or on your little menu bar, if you're on mobile, you will see a tab that says everything, and in parentheses, start here. Just click right there and you'll be on your way to finding out everything that Married to Addiction currently has to offer. Hello, and welcome to episode 93 of the Married to Addiction podcast. Today's episode is called How Long Should You Hold On to Hope? So today I want to examine the concept of hope because sometimes as wives of alcoholics, we feel like that's all we have left. And sometimes we don't even feel like we have that. But for a lot of us, we cling so tightly to hope for so long. And while it's true that in Christ there's always hope, it may look a little bit different than you are currently envisioning it. So when we're in a situation like this as wives of alcoholics, we are putting all of our hope in the fact that things will change. So in our case would be our husbands getting sober. But the sad truth is that sometimes that takes a very long time. And for some, it's not going to happen at all because obviously sobriety does not happen in every situation. So, due to that, and for us to be able to make it through the situation a little bit easier, well, a lot easier, it's really, really important for us to reframe our idea of hope. So, in our case, we are putting our hope in our husbands when we really need to be putting our hope and keeping our hope in God. When we are stuck in just hoping that our husband is going to get sober, then our hope is really misdirected because we are placing our hope in our husband. We're hoping that he will do something that will change our situation. But it is actually God that can do something to change his situation, your situation, the situation at large. So we really need to refocus. And instead of placing our hope in what our husbands will hopefully do, we need to redirect our hope and place it in God and whatever his plan for our lives is. Now, here is the tough part about that. As you probably know, that may or may not match up with what you personally want to happen. And that can feel really hard. But one thing that we do know about God and God's plan is that it's always good. So we can always hold on to the hope that something better is coming. Now, you may not know what that is. And again, it might not look exactly how you think it's going to, but something better is coming. That shift in taking your hope from placing it in your husband and what he will hopefully do and the changes that he will hopefully make, to placing your hope in God, who can always be trusted, is so important, because something better is coming. God has a good plan for your life, I promise you. Another thing to realize is that holding on to hope that your husband is going to get sober might actually be keeping you from God's plan. Of course, this isn't the case for everyone, but it definitely is for some. And I have actually seen this happen over the last few years with some of my group coaching members in the Secret Sister Circle. Maybe God has a whole new, beautiful life waiting for you outside of your current relationship, outside of your current situation. Maybe he is trying to move you beyond it. But instead of placing your hope in God and his plan, which is good, you are still desperately clinging to the hope that someday your husband will get sober and then things will change for you. So you stay, even though you may not be called to stay, or even though you are no longer being called to stay. We never have to feel hopeless in our situation. And the thing that's sad is so many wives of alcoholics feel hopeless for months, for years. But the fact of the matter is that we should never feel hopeless as Christian women. Because whether this difficult journey ends because your husband gets sober, or whether it ends with God directing you to move on, whether it's now or in the future, one thing is for sure. If you place your hope in God instead, and you look to him for direction on where you need to go, even if that feels scary, your hope will shift from hope to absolute assurance that your future will be bright. So how do we make this hope shift? Well, it really starts with just two things. You look to God for guidance instead of always looking at your husband to see if maybe today's the day that he's going to stop drinking and stay stopped. And you are open and willing to go where he guides you, even if it's not in line with how you want things to be or how you are hoping that it works out. Because we don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like. I have seen women whose husbands get sober and then they get divorced because their husband, it wasn't just a drinking problem. It was a husband problem. It was, a lot bigger than that. So you have to hang your hope on the Lord, who knows the beginning from the end. Because if you are putting your hope for your life getting better only on your husband, it is misplaced. God is the only one who knows the future and who knows what's best for you, and who will also never, ever steer you wrong. And you can, for sure, place every last drop of your hope in that. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Hey, one more quick thing before I let you go today. Do you follow Married to Addiction on either Instagram or Facebook, or both? If not, I would love to have you join me over there. It's a great place to stay connected with everything that's happening with Married to Addiction. I post updates about my podcast episodes, of course. I post about my freebies. I post about my programs. I post encouragement in the way of Bible verses and things like that. I also post just like some helpful little teaching nuggets sometimes too. So I really think that you would get a lot of value out of that as the wife of an alcoholic. And I would love to have you join me on either Facebook or Instagram, or both. You can find me at facebook.com/married to addiction, or just at married to addiction on Instagram. I hope to see you there.